Hey there, it's Aaron. It is September 23rd, 2014, and it is 11:52 at night, obviously. Because it's all dark. Even though I would usually have that light over there on, but it would have that on, but it's an eyesore on the webcam. I really haven't been uploading videos because I'm so used to putting things up on the VC community Facebook group page. So I just take a picture, it gets a bunch of likes. The only videos I have posted over the summer were I did a YouTube version of my college show Albums Uncovered, and I chose Trap Mouse Replica by Captain Beefheart, and I really didn't hear anything. No, in fact, I didn't hear any response from that. Nobody said, "Oh, good job" or whatever. Nobody has the time to sit through that. So. And I also put up videos of me going through my vinyl collection, which I don't know. For those of you who have watched it, thank you. It means a lot to me because I just thought, people are up doing it. Everybody's showing off their vinyl collection. I mean, why? The people, there's an audience for that sort of thing, so why don't I do it? But the thing I didn't understand was people do it in limited. They do it in shorter videos, like 10 minutes and mine are 20 minutes at least. So, but for those of you who did watch my vinyl collection videos or just one, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you haven't seen them, you can go elsewhere on my channel and watch them. What I want to show off in this video is music that I've gotten over the summer. I just went through all my shelves, the crates, and just picked out things I knew I got over the summer. So I don't know if I picked out everything. There's going to be some digital releases that I don't have. So, and they're all sitting here in a pile. There's two in my lap because, again, this is my fourth or fifth time trying to do this. This is my second time trying to do this. So, yeah, I'm just going to go right into the albums here. Yesterday, these came in the mail. 2012 remasters, Frank Zappa remasters. These albums are absolutely free in Hot Rats. Now, I have both albums already. For the longest time, I tried avoiding getting the Frank Zappa 2012 reissues because I thought it was just going to be the same thing that was released in '95 on Rykodisc. Nope. Apparently, for some of those releases, they weren't the original mix. Frank added, reverb, like digital remastering, and some people didn't like the tinniness of it, and they just want to stick with their older records. But most of the 2012 remasters don't have the reverb on them, and they sound fantastic, apparently. And I didn't know this until about a couple months after they were released, and I thought, oh, geez, I gotta repurchase them. And I really didn't want to because collecting Frank Zappa albums is not a cheap hobby. So I looked at, there was a list of albums that were worth repurchasing. So I went by that list, did sound comparisons, and I'm just going to take it step by step because really I don't like repurchasing music I already own. So I started with these two. Two of my favorite Zappa albums, of course. Two of my favorites by Zappa. Okay, absolutely free. The difference with this one is that it's in real stereo, and you can really hear the difference after years and years of listening to it. And both of these albums I previously owned through iTunes, and all my iTunes purchases go in CDRs. So it's cool to have a hard copy of this album here. So it's real stereo. That's the main difference, and it sounds really, really good. This is Hot Rats. I have heard Hot Rats many times. It's my favorite album by Zappos, but apparently the version I've been listening to all this time was the 1987 remix. Yeah, Frank went in and he totally redid well, not re-recorded it, but he totally changed the album. He added an extra 3 minutes on, what was it? The Gumbo Vibe? What was it? The Gumbo Vibrations. So, yeah, this is the first time that they put the original mix on CD. Sort of weird how that happened. Love, Black Beauty. This has been in, I guess what would be called developmental hell. This is released on a record label called High Moon Records, and they started about 3 years ago, and they went out and decided we're going to be a record label that makes or releases long-lost albums that are no longer in print or have never been in print. And one of the first 2 albums they chose was Black Beauty by Love, which was an unreleased, although it was bootlegged over the years, album by Love that was recorded in '74. And they kept changing the release date. This is High Moon Records. They kept changing the release date over and over and over, and then finally they released it. They first released it on vinyl and then on CD. So after 3 years of trying to get this, I finally have it, and it's numbered. I have copies, 1352 out of 5,000 pressed, so pretty pricey. It cost me about $25, $27. But you really get your money's worth with the liner notes, and the sound on this, the remastering, is really great. So, getting your money's worth, well worth purchasing. That is, if they still have copies around. So you would have to go on High Moon Records, just Google that, and see what you get. And they're supposed to come out with more, but I don't know. Accept, Metal Heart. Love Accept. We already have a couple of their albums. But to prepare for the release of their latest album now, Blind Rage, which I got through iTunes, great album, I decided to get their other great album from the 80s. I think they had that trilogy of, Restless and Wild, Balls to the Wall, and then Metal Heart. Metal Heart's more of the commercial one. It does sound very commercial, and I think they were trying to get more of a wider audience and whatnot. But it's still a really heavy album, and I think it's a good album. Who do we think we are? I always forget the title. This album, Deep Purple, obviously. Got this from eBay. Can never find a cheap price for this album. I don't know why. I have this on vinyl, but really did not come out very well on the USB turntable, which I'm thinking about getting a new one. But so I got the album. I think this is a good album. Some people seem to not like it. I mean, in terms of a studio album, it is sort of a downgrade. No, in fact, it is a downgrade. It is a downgrade compared to Machine Head, which was the album that came before. But I mean, I'd listen to it. It's a really great album. It's a great Deep Purple album. Woman from Tokyo, Rat Bat Blue, Our Lady, Smooth Dancer. There's a lot of great songs on here. Power Windows, Rush. Lacking some 80s Rush, so I was going to decide between this or Grace Under Pressure. And I know there are some people who don't like Power Windows, but some think of it as sort of a guilty pleasure. But I got this because I wanted to hear The Big Money, which I always saw on VH1 Classic when I first got it. When we first got Comcast in our family, in our house. This is a good album. It's very 80s sounding, very of the time, but I wanted to pick this up because when I saw Rush 2 years ago, they played a bunch of songs from this album, so I'm really happy to have this. What's that? Redeemer of Souls, Judas Priest. This is their new album, came out this year. Great album. Great album. I think this is my favorite. No, I know for a fact that this is Unless somebody tops it, this is my favorite album of the year. It's surprisingly good. I know they talked about breaking up and going on the farewell tour, but good thing they didn't because they still got it. Just listen to the album. Eskimo by The Residents. I've been hearing about them quite a lot. I probably first heard of them, or at least the name, years ago, but then I really didn't know who they were until I saw, what was it, WatchMojo.com, and they did a list on the top masked musicians, and they put at number 10, The Residents, and I thought, where has this band been all my life? So I listened to, in all honesty, I listened to their first few albums on Groove Shark and YouTube, and just to see if it was my kind of thing, and I liked it. So I went to get hard copies of them, and the first one I picked up was Eskimo. Really like this album, and it's a very interesting album in that you have to, while you're listening to the album, you have to read the liner notes, because in the liner notes there are stories that go with the songs. Because if you don't read the stories, it's just going to sound like a bunch of gibberish and noises. But the stories are not in the booklet of this one. They tell you to go on the website, so but you can read them online and still get the same effect. But yeah, great album. I think this is my favorite of the bunch. I gotta go get more of their stuff. Definitely. Outsider, Uriah Heep. This is their brand new album. It's a good album. Good. I prefer the one they released last, Into the Wild. That was a really great album, but this one's a good follow-up. Yeah, worth getting if you don't have it. Too Tough to Die, The Ramones. Been a long time since I've gotten an album by The Ramones. And sort of going in chronological order, and this is the one I need to get next. And I got it after Tommy Ramone passed away, and of course he produces the album. So, yeah, good album. Really good album.